What's up, rugby league fans? It's Dan and Luke from Daft Previews. It's your first taste of some NRL content for 2023. In today's video, we're going to be riffing through our talk about futures. We'll be previewing each team's season and probably be talking about a couple of things that stood out to us in the trials. Luke, it's been a long time, very long time since we spoke. We didn't get to talk too much prior to this, so
been a minute.
First, I just want to say it's really good to have you on screen, mate. I reckon you've stepped it up. You've leveled up in your appearance. How's everything with the ladies? You're doing much better, surely.
Yeah. Obviously, more time away from this means more success off the field, as they say. So, just building a winning culture off the field. That's what I'm trying to do now.
What was this Penrith Panthers thing you were at prior to this?
It's kind of like a season launch for like sponsors. So basically, Ivan, Nathan, Isaiah, all the people that come up and give like a little spiel about what they're working towards this year as a team and a unit and building a good culture and everything. Probably something that the Dragons probably aren't doing, I imagine, unless they're ones at 6 a.m. in Mudgee. But
no, they're baiting me, right? They did this same bullshit last year. They tried to bait me into getting on them to get the spoon.
You did actually back them on the spoon last year, yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing it again, and I was ready to jump on. But speaking of the spoon, I am going to take the Dragons for the spoon, but I'm going to wait until the Dolphins tank their first half of the season because I think they'll come home better. I think the Dolphins will come home better, whereas the Dragons will shit the bed completely. So I'm going to wait till about mid-season and get on the Dragons for the spoon.
After watching the Dolphins, I don't know. I can't see it.
Yeah, because mate, that's why you're being twisted into this first half of the season thing. They're going to suck.
The Dragons, I think the Dolphins are going to suck all year. I think I get the Dragons thing. A lot of people tip me that, and I was like, oh, there's a couple teams I watched where I'm like, I can't see them winning games. Whereas I just think surely the Dragons with Ben Hunt and the striking that team puts something together at some point.
If by state of origin time, if the Dolphins are only 4 points behind the Dragons, I'm taking the Dragons for the spoon. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. You get good value then too.
Yes, I'm a value chaser, so I will not be touching the Dragons now. What are they paying anyway to get the spoon? Let's have a quick gaze.
To get the spoon, there's quite a fair few.
They're paying $6.50 right now.
They Dolphins come in. They were about I feel like $10-11 before the trials.
Jeez.
$3 though is very short for Dolphins, but the teams around them, like the Knights and the Warriors, there's a lot.
Yeah.
If Ponga gets injured,
well, he will. It just comes down to when.
Yeah, like they're going to struggle
because all it takes for Ponga, it could be 2 concussions in the first 6 rounds. They'll sit him for the rest of the year.
Yeah, true.
You know. But yeah, I'm like, oh fuck, $6.50, Jesus.
They were much better odds, but as I said, the Dolphins squad is probably the worst squad I've seen. Like, it's worse than the Dogs last few years. Like, up until that, like it's that team they put out even against the Cowboys second string. That was still
so average.
It's so average. There's nothing there that like goes to me. Like, they need basically someone like the Hammer to have the season of his life and carry them, which I can't see that happening.
The Cowboys losing the Hammer is going to be... They'll look back on it as a fucking masterstroke because there's a reason why he couldn't crack the top 17 last year.
Yeah, he couldn't get into that team that was playing on the front foot all year. So
yeah,
I think he's good. I don't think he's going to...
He runs fast, but he doesn't break tackles. He doesn't pull through the line. Like, he's... I don't know. All flash, really. He's not... I'd prefer Kyle Felt any day. You know what I mean? Like, at least Kyle Felt, you know what he's going to give you. Like, you can get that every single week. Like, he's, whereas, the Hammers, he's, and how long can you stay fast for? You know what I mean? Like, you got to do something else. So
exactly, speed only lasts you so long. But that Dolphin, I think if you're going to it's a good call. If you're going to take the Dragons, I'd wait because you're either going to get priced out completely when they win a few games, or they're close enough where you can go, you know what? If Griffin's still there, they're going to fall under at some point. So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, whilst we're on the topic, let's just talk about the Dolphins. They're clearly favourites for the spoon. Do you think they'll get it, or do you reckon my Dragons play has a chance?
You know, like people, they talked about, these new teams in NRL, they got a new spark and everything like that. The Crushers back in the day got the wooden spoon in their first season. There's a few teams.
Mm.
I think what's going to hurt them is, and I kind of understand why, is when the amount of time they've had to put a squad together. Like they'll announce it's like 18 months or something from when they were given a license to put a team together. There's just not enough time. And that squad, you look like they went after Munster, they went after I think Brandon Smith at one point. They went after so many players and just Ponga. They just missed all these players and they didn't get any big player like Milford, their big boy. And the Melbourne Storm theory, you know, when a player leaves the Melbourne Storm, they're never the same player. So they've like Kafusi, the Bromwich boys, they're not going to be the same forwards.
They were already over the hill in Melbourne. Like
correct. And Melbourne wouldn't let that many go in a row unless they really thought, nah, we're not getting anything out of these guys. So I just think, looking at that squad, like there's nothing like Ewan Aiken. These are all players.
Their best player, I reckon.
Like Robert Jennings couldn't crack this first grade team. Jermaine Osaka couldn't hold a spot down. These are players. These are players who are going to be in their starting 17 week in, week out, and they're going to struggle. Like Mark Nichols, like Jared Wallace, for example, like he's over his best. I just look at that team and I don't think like Sean O'Sullivan. I think he's going to show what the Penrith system is, and that is a very, very good system. And he's going to get found out he's not a regular first grade halfback in a team that doesn't go forward.
He was the most dangerous player for the Dolphins in that second trial.
Yeah,
but there was nothing happening around him. I think
no.
I think they're obviously going to give Milford the first crack at 6.
Yeah,
but the sooner they move Katoa into 6 and drop Milford, the better they'll be. But they'll give Milford obviously a lot more time. So he'll tank the Dolphins first half of the season, and then when there's nothing to play for, more things will change. So more of the young guys, because a lot of these guys are just too fucking old, and they're not playing for anything. Like they got paid overs to go there, enjoying the life up in Brizzy. It's just, there's no excitement here. It's not good. No. It's just a whole team of average guys. Like none of these players are bad.
No,
but they serve a purpose. And they're not serving that here.
If there was if they were like a team of just young kids or something, then I'd be more excited by them. You know what? There'll be a week where they can hold on for 80 minutes and beat a team, but I just don't think 80 minutes over 8, they're not going to beat anyone. Like, there's some good markets out there on the Dolphins, though. You can bet on things like first win. There's some really juicy, like most teams, it's first loss as well, but you can get much value in them there. But it's, I can't see them not getting the spoon. Like the only thing that's going to prevent them is a team absolutely butchers themselves with injuries, or something like the Manly gate with the Pride jersey or something, and then they lose the last 12 in a row. But they're too short. The $3 is too short because, a couple of wins, they jag a couple of wins against, and even like look at Origin. The only thing they benefit from is like Origin period. There will be none of those players in the Origin squad. So they're going to be full strength through Origin and the buys and everything.
So they'll probably play the Warriors or something during Origin and not really get a benefit. They'll get bye and they'll get the Warriors. All right, enough about the Dolphins. I'm sick of hearing that shit. Let's since we're looking at who's going to make the spoon, let's fucking get the rubbish teams out of the way nice and quick. So we've got the Newcastle Knights. They're paying $5 to win the spoon. We spoke about the biggest risk for them is Ponga getting injured, like he does every single year. They got a couple of good gains. Adam Elliott, even though he's a side piece, they got Gamble. They got wild Jack Hetherington. Lockie Miller at fullback doesn't look too bad. Marju looks terrible for some reason at the Gold Coast. And they got Hastings, obviously, from the Tigers. Lost a lot of players, but I'm getting the same vibes as pretty much the last couple of years for the Knights. Hastings hasn't really moved the needle for me.
No. I feel like they're just disjointed. There's nothing. Adam Elliott, I think, is going to be big for them. I think he was pretty solid at Canberra last year.
He was. But every forward for Canberra was good.
They've brought in, like, if you look at the players they've brought in like some real like grunt in that team with like Hetherington, Elliott, Tyson Gamble, like grubs. I just don't. I think they'll compete, but I just don't think they're not going to beat teams.
I can't see like the team firing up, but I can see these players firing up in isolation. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not like, come with me, boys. Let's rip in. It's like one guy mouthing off, and it becomes like a personal battle type of thing. What's the go with these Saifidi boys? So they're good enough to play Origin, play well in Origin, but they're terrible for the Knights.
And they're on big money. Like Daniel Saifidi's like 750, 800 or something like that, 700,000 plus player. Jacob's on big. They're on big money for props, and they just again with that team. Yeah, they've signed okay, but I think it's the coach in that team. I just think
Oh yeah.
I just think he just doesn't
He
get like
sucks.
he sucks, and they just got a lot of players who are on money that aren't playing well. Like Tyson Frizzell paying overs for him, the Safidi boys paying, or even though they play Origin, they're just not getting the most. Gagai, you're paying overs for him. Jaden Brayley, for example, as well. Like
Yeah.
Sharks let him getting the Sharks let him go as a masterstroke.
Yeah.
Because again, he's not a top
Dominic
8
Young.
Yeah, and who was probably their most improved, like little bit of spark.
He's the person. If you were going to watch a Knights game, that's who you'd want to see. You put money on him to score a try, put a little bit more to score 2, and then just watch.
Last year, I thought he had hands like feet. I ripped into him, and he had an amazing year. And I thought, okay, this guy can play.
Yeah.
And he played in the World Cup, played well. So, and now he's leaving next year. So
yeah, unbelievable. They do have Jack Johns. So I know you like the Johns boys. How about one of my first takes of the year was Cooper Johns starting at 7 for Manly. Fade him. Absolute dog shit. And they ripped the Roosters apart.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, again, the theory of a Melbourne player isn't going to be the same, but he played well so far.
Yeah. Where do you think the Knights finish?
I've got Knights in 14th.
Pretty much in line with the odds makers.
Yeah, I'll do it on my ladder as we're talking, but I have them 14th. I've got Dolphins 16, Knights 14.
Okay. All right. Enough about the Knights. They're trash. Ponga's good to watch in Origin, and Dom Young is good to watch full stop. But other than that, no excitement machines. Gamble might get punched in the face, but yeah, and Hetherington most likely to be suspended for the softest reasons, I think. So they're your reasons to watch Newcastle Knights this year. Let's get into the New Zealand Warriors. So they're paying $6.50 to win the spoon. Fair bit of movement. They got Tamari Martin back, but they did lose Walsh. Nakora's there. Luke Metcalf, I thought he'd be a great buy because when he played for Cronulla, he was awesome, but he's got hamstring problems. Dylan Walker, he's got problems from the waist down. Probably can't even get it up.
No.
They got Mitch Barnett. He's pretty good. He scored some tries. They got Chance from Canberra, Jackson Ford, and Braden Villiamy. So not too much excitement. They did lose. They lost more popular players. Like they lost Cody, Matt Lodge, Jesse Arthurs went back to Brisbane, Ewan Aitken, Reece Walsh, Katoa, probably going to be a monster in Melbourne. Murchie. They lost my man, Murdoch Masilla. Fucking hell. He was one of the reasons I like to watch the Warriors. They actually lost heaps of players, and Ash Taylor retired. But what's the forecast on the Warriors season? Fucking Sean Johnson still has a job. So
that's crazy. That guy has been piggybacking off the first 4 years of his career for a long time now. I've got them. They're my 15th place team.
Oh, really? Fuck, you must be high on the Dragons then.
I'm a little bit higher, not much higher, but I think, they've recruited average, Nickel Clockstad instead of Reece Walsh. That's a huge difference. Mitch Barnett instead of probably Aiken, I'm guessing. They've also Katoa. They've lost better players with better ceilings and game players who are at their peak or below. They're going. None of those signings.
I think Metcalf is probably the only one who could get better.
Correct. Tamara Martin, no chance. He's his best as years ago. Dylan Walker, again, way over.
Yeah.
Mitch Barnett, same thing. His best days of a few years ago now. They're just near Corey, maybe, but
no, his best he's ever played is when they chucked him in the centers for about 6 weeks. That was his peak. He's
and also I know he's a ex-Panthers assistant coach, but Andrew Webster, I'm not sure if he's a first grade coach either. He doesn't. I've watched some of their videos and stuff. I know it's crap behind the scenes, but it doesn't instill me with a man who knows how to run a first grade team. He's literally had a couple games experience prior and was an assistant at Penrith when clearly, basically everyone's getting promoted out of that club, and it just shows Trent Barrett, it's not always the case. So
yeah. Look, I think my last point on the Warriors, I don't think they're going to be good this year, but I think they're going to be a team that I do bet on quite a bit. I'm betting on them. I think odds makers will obviously look at their lineup, shit coach, all that stuff. The public are going to fade them almost every single week. I think lines are going to be too big, and you'll see me taking the Warriors when they're at home to cover, some absurd line, 9.5, 13.5, whatever it may be. I think they'll catch those lines throughout the season. So that's my last point in the Warriors. You got anything else to add?
No.
No. Nothing. All right, let's talk about the team we touched on when we first started. It's the St. George Illawarra Dragons. They didn't really gain many players. They lost quite a bit. Probably Murdoch Masilla, probably the biggest one. They got Jacob Little, but how long will he play for? Zay Musgrove, he is an awful player. Honestly, he's so bad. He's like a Kmart version of bloody Flegler at his worst. Like, he drops the ball everywhere, gives penalties, and he's huge. He sucks.
Yeah.
Amon, some off-field drama. They had who was it? Ravalawa and some other wanker wrestling it out. Start their season off.
Yeah, why not? Mudgy. It's lovely.
Yeah. They've lost some grunt. Tarek Sims, Josh Maguire. They're both gone. So, and Macca retired. Andrew McCulloch. He actually didn't play too bad, but he was clearly getting too old. So again, the Dragon season's going to rest on bloody Ben Hunt. They lost what's his name, fullback. He's gone for pretty much the year, right?
Not Sloan.
No, they're stuck with Sloan.
He's got the stomach problem.
Yeah.
Cody Ramsey.
What's he got? So ulcerative colitis or fucking...
Correct. Yeah. So basically, that's basically for anyone who follows football. Darren Fletcher at Manchester United had that. And basically ended his career. Like, it was like 3 years he couldn't play. It was,
Jesus. Yeah. So, the Dragons are fucked. They got Sloan, who's going to play most games, or they're going to have fucking Moses Mbaye, starting. That's just... It's a recipe for disaster. And Ben Hunt had the best year he's ever had last year.
Correct.
He can't do that again. There's no one can have that type of impact and do that bullshit outside of Jonathan Thurston. To be on a shit team and carry them as a half... No one can do that.
That's true.
So I think the Dragons will be contending for the spoon by the end of the season, because these people are going to give up on each other. All these players, there's no camaraderie there. They'll give up on each other. You got Lomax thinks he's God's gift still, flick passing it all over the place. Francis Mollett was an Origin player before he got to the Dragons. He's not even going to get a sniff. They probably won't even let him watch Origins, how bad he is at the moment. Jack Bird's injuries are back. Zach DeBellin, he's actually not too bad, but they're young guys, these Pheno guys, I thought they were going to, progress into something, but now they're just, everyday NRL backs. They're not too exciting. It's like those, the Matautio brothers, the twins?
Yes.
Like how they, one of them even played for Australia, right? But
but the one played for Australia, didn't play for New South Wales.
Yeah, but I thought, these guys have a similar type of ceiling, but they've faded very quickly. But I think that's more of a club problem. So, I think the Dragons won't be last on the table until the very end of the season. I reckon the last couple of rounds, the Dolphins will catch them. That's my bold prediction, that the Dragons will get the spoon, but I'm going to take them later in the year when I'm going to get them over $10. The Dolphins will come into 250 or something. We'll catch. I don't go for the Dolphins, but they're going to catch the Dragons. What are your thoughts? You got anything else you want to say about the Dragons?
No, I've got them 14th. I think, I agree. I think they're going to really struggle. I just think there's shitter teams than them. But I got them 14th. I think players like Aaron Woods, Jack Bird, they're just chewing up your cap, and that's what's killing it at the moment.
And I had a look before. Shit, even on radio, Aaron Woods.
He's terrible. But he's on, he signed this year. It's like a player option. That'd just suck for them. Going, can't we just fuck him off and get someone else? It'd be so Moses Sully. They're on paying $500,000-$600,000 for him. No, mate, he's he's a poor man's Conrad Harrell after the weekend. He's a poor man's Conrad Harrell.
Yeah, it's not good. He's not going to get good ball either. Can be destructive. He won't get the right ball to get it anyway. It's not good. All right, enough about the Dragons. Gold Coast Titans. They're paying $11 to win the spoon. They still had David Fafita. They do have Kieran Foran, though, which is huge. They got Verrill, so they really upgraded the spine. They got Shot from Canterbury. I don't think they needed more backs, but they got him anyway. Who have they lost? They've lost the Vape Lord. Kevin Proctor's gone. Will Smith, Osaka, Wallace, all these wankers to the Dolphins. No big loss there. Marshall was pretty good for the Titans, but he's not looking good in Newcastle. Isan Masters, again, not a big loss. Lasoni and Corey Thompson retired. So they really haven't lost too much. I think they're going to be a better team given who they've picked up. They've had shit number 9s forever. I can't remember the last time they had a good one. And Kieran Foran, the question is his motivation and commitment, right? Because he was chasing that bag. He moved there for cash.
Yeah.
So how long can that motivate him for? But he did look good in his trial game, Kieran Foran. Looked awesome. So I'm not going to shit on the Titans in this video, I think. So what are your thoughts?
I have him 13th.
Yeah,
and I think the biggest problem I have with them is they got AJ Brimson and Peachy basically Preston Campbell. Sorry,
Baby Campbell.
They got both. Like they can't fit those two in the team at all. Like they're two of the better players. So they're going to play one maybe out of position. That's crap. This is the last season on Fafita's stupid deal. Again, they're paying a guy $1 million. It's probably worth half of that. So once that frees up a bit of money, that could maybe help them. But yeah, they're not. Again, that team's like jumping out at me and going, they're going to make the 8. They made the 8 on a negative win-loss a couple of years ago, and I feel like that team is better than where this team is this year. So yeah, people like Bo Furmore, for example. Fucking hell.
Yeah, he's a great pick for try scorers, though. So the one reason to watch Titans game is they're a pretty good team to bet on. They'll leak points, and they always somehow manage to score them.
I feel like teams take them lightly or something. But
yeah, or they usually get blown out early. So there's a period of the game where it doesn't matter what happens here.
Yeah,
crazy things happen. But yeah, I think a lot of the players that I normally shit on from the Titans really moved on. Like Osaka, Wallace, like they moved. Proctor, that guy doesn't run the ball ever. Like he's gone. Who do we like? I'm just having a quick look. Obviously, we don't like Fafita. We like Foreign.
Big Tino, though. I rate him.
Yeah, look, he's good, and I can see that, and I can appreciate how good he is for them. But he doesn't blow me away. Like he's just the guy that's clearly working the hardest in a shit team.
Yeah.
Like it's more of a respect thing, but he doesn't blow me away. Even in Origin, he doesn't blow me away. Like fucking Ruben Cotter, his first game in Origin was better than any game that Tino's ever had. Like,
yeah, fair point.
Same as Carrigan, but I do like Aaron Clark when he plays at lock, though. He's actually been pretty good. He only did that for a little bit when Tino was out, but I do like that. But yeah, not too much to say about the Titans. They still got that coach somehow. Yeah. I don't think they'll be close to the spoon, but they won't be close to the 8 either. I think they'll be probably 4 to 5 teams pushing for the last 2 spots in the 8. I think this won't be one of them.
No.
All right, let's get into the West Tigers. They're also paying $11 for West Tigers. So I think, which is what's probably more important than the team changes, is really the coaching changes. I think that's the most impactful change that they made. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they got Appy, they got Papali'i, Bateman. Apparently, he'll be ready for round 1.
Apparently, Visa's good to go. Yeah.
They got Clemmer. Nofaluma's back. They got Brandon Wakeham as a backup 7 when Luke Brooks has a mental breakdown. They lost Luciano, who was actually pretty good. Luke Garner's gone to, and the Peach has gone back to Penrith. Kelma Tuolangi, he was pretty big for them last year. Rocks and diamonds, but a lot of potential. Jock Madden's backing up Reynolds, which is going to be important. Probably play half the year. Jimmy Tarmow didn't do much here. Hastings, who's going to touch? He touched the ball 900 times a game. Who's going to do that?
Yeah.
But I think Appy can. Obviously, Appy will touch the ball more than anyone in the league this year. But I've actually got high hopes for the Tigers because they've actually signed better players than they've lost, which I can't remember the last time they've done that as a club. And they've overhauled this coaching staff. The only thing, if this doesn't work for the Tigers, that fucking guy that you don't like who owns them, he has to go. He's the last.
Pasco,
There is nothing more you can do to this team but move the whole team, or Pasco's got to sell it and fuck off. So I do have high hopes. I think that them finishing 9th, that whole thing is there's a real opportunity for that this year.
Which is where I've got them.
Hey.
I have 3 teams fighting for that 8th spot, and they're one of them, and I've got them in 9th. And I think that is a big improvement for them because I think whilst it'll be painful, I think they can take positives from it. I think there's still one more year. If they obviously making the 8, they need to make improvements, and I think this is it. Appy's big signing for them. You'll see he'll give them direction. And when they
Mm.
last time they had a decent hooker, Harry Grant, they played a lot better. Papali'i on the edge is going to be good. As you said, they've recruited better than what they've let go, which is always a good sign. Plus the backroom changes with Sheensy going in there is going to be good because it just gives them direction and experience and confidence in a dressing room that they've brought in a back-to-back premiership winning hooker, grand finalist back rower, a West Tigers coaching legend in Sheensy, and then Benji is in the coaching staff as well. I think Robbie's there still and stuff. So I think they improve. I just think it's between three teams on that 8th spot. They might just miss out. If they make 8th, then I wouldn't be shocked. But yeah,
I have them 8th. My bold prediction is that the Tigers make the 8th this year.
Nice.
The other bet that I like when I was looking through is Tigers to be the most improved team.
Yeah,
so they're $3.40. They are the favourites. Actually, I thought it's between them and the Dogs, but the Dogs weren't too bad last year. They managed to get like 16 points or something.
Yeah.
I think the public's going to blow out the Dogs. I don't think they're going to be as good as everyone thinks they will be. That's just my opinion, but I do think the Tigers most improved team, and I think they're going to make the 8. They've improved everywhere but 7, pretty much.
$3.30 in sports bet
Really?
for them to make the 8.
Yeah, they've improved everywhere but the 7, and now Luke Brooks has never had a team this strong around him. And if he can't figure this out this year,
no, it's true.
He's back him halfway through and let Benji play. Honestly,
as I said,
if you get Benji in his last year to play with this team, they'll make the 8.
Yeah, they've got Dane Laurie fullback experience, but they've also got someone in backup in Charlie Staines at fullback. Like they've actually got some depth in some positions. So that's going to create a bit of a competitive environment because they know they're both fighting.
They actually have competition for spots in their forward pack as well. Last year, Offengowie was their best forward. Can you believe that? He was the worst forward Brisbane had before he came here. He was one of the worst ones, and he was their best forward last year. The year prior, Alex Twal was their best forward. And those guys probably won't even be their top 3. So I'm liking their forward pack. I like this whole team except for the 7. I even like the coaching staff and the shit they're going to do. So I've got high hopes for Tigers. Won't buy a jersey, but I like them. I like them a bit. All right, moving on. Getting off this West Tigers bullshit. Robbie Farah still wasn't nice to me when I met him, so fuck the Tigers. We've got Manly Seagulls. Manly. They've spent the last couple of years at the mercy of Turbo's hamstrings and knees. I don't know if they've upgraded the club. They lost Kieran Foran. Who have they picked up? I'll let you take it.
So their losses. Their losses are the big piece, but they've gained that Ben Condon bloke from Cowboys, Cooper Johns, the better Johns brother, Zach Fulton. Apparently, game, but he played there last year, which is strange. Kelma Tuolungi has joined. They lost Andrew Davey. Oh my god, there we go. They lost Kieran Foran. Tafua didn't play first grade last year at all. No. Marty Tapau, again, shit. Dylan Walker overpaid. So the play similar. It's not a crazy off season for them in terms of recruiting, but they didn't lose a lot of players where you're going, there's holes in that team now.
I think where they're playing it is they blooded a lot of young guys who were green as raw as shit last year. They're banking on them getting better.
Cooler.
Yeah. Good news for them, Morgan Harper got injured.
What about the transfer rumor that he was going to swap with Nathan Brown from Para? That would have been the funniest thing I've seen Parramatta do. Yeah. There was talks that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I think, they're banking on the improvements of the young guys. Schuster to get better with more playing time. Olakwatu, Cooler to get better. Turbo to hopefully be healthy. Tuolungi is obviously new, young and new. Tuapolotu, he was really good last year.
Yes.
Faded late. I think after the scandal, he went a bit quiet. But, very similar team. I think they're banking on the youth to get better and Turbo to be healthy. I don't know if they make the 8, though.
I do.
Let me hear it.
I have them 7th.
Nah, you're an idiot.
I think I saw enough in these trials what Seabold's come in there and done with that team. I know you're not a fan of him, but
no, I actually think he's going to be a heaps better coach this time around.
Correct. I think he's learned some lessons.
Yes.
And he's going to go back to what works. And I think this Manly team are going to be much better than they were last year under Des.
Mate.
What ruined them last year making the 8 was the jersey. If you take that jersey thing out, they probably make the 8.
Yeah,
that jersey thing cost them. So that's what I look at. The team haven't got any worse. Tommy Turbo is just as likely to get injured. Fair enough. Yeah. If he doesn't get injured, they're locks to make the 8. I feel like even if he does miss half the season, they still make the 8 because these players like Kula, Saab, Olakawatu, they're going to be better this year. Schuster in the halves is a question, but Cooper, the Johns boys,
they got long neck still, so
yeah, they've got. I like Zach Fulton, just a tough player. They're not a bad squad, and I did notice in the trial. I don't know if it was for the whole game, but Jake Trbojevic was actually playing in prop for a bit, which I think he's probably realized with his style and game, he can't play and be that competitive anymore. So I think he's maybe even deciding to move across and let someone with a bit more ball playing skills play.
He's got to play flat because he doesn't have the thighs or the pace. He's got to play flat and he's got to play fast. Like I think that's where he can come in. I actually agree with the prediction. I think Manly make the 8 as well, now that I think about it. I think, one thing with Manly, and regardless of how good their team's been, it's been a common trend every year. They fly under the radar, which is what they need. Someone like Seabold needs it. Obviously, with the spotlights of Brisbane, he just got worse and worse and worse. Like this bloke probably gets one interview a week, and it's after the game. That is mandatory. Other than that, there's going to be no talk. And if there is, it's about Turbo's injuries. That's all. So...
Yeah, and I think he's gone. I think he's gone there with a mindset of obviously they sent Turbo to America. He's going to go through the same stuff with Latrell, but build this team so he's going to get injured or he's going to get picked for Origin. We're going to miss him. We need to win games without him, and the way they've set up this squad compared to what they've lost, I like it.
Yeah, beautiful. Paying $2.30 to make the 8, by the way, so that's not so bad for your Manly fans out there. Now, the moment that we've all been waiting for, talking about the Brisbane Broncos. Mate, it's a bit of disrespect here, but actually no, it hasn't come in. Oh, it has come in. $1.75 to make the top 8. I checked this out a couple of days ago because I was going to have a play. We were close to $2, but it's come into $1.75 now. We've got Jesse Arthur's back from the Warriors, Jock Madden, Reece Walsh. We got Tapau. We lost a lot of dead weight. Osako is gone. Ryan James is gone. Tamara Martin, he wasn't dead weight at all. He was actually pretty good, but Branko Lee was dead weight. Tessie was dead weight. Tyson Gamble was more entertainment and nothing else. Zach Hosking was great in limited time, gone to Penrith. Jake Turpin was dead weight. Reece Kennedy was shit. Albert Kelly was stomping shoes. Tyron Roberts barely played. So we lost a lot of players, but none of them very impactful. I think Tamara Martin's probably the biggest loss if we just lost him with no replacement. But we saw in Reece Walsh's 60 minutes against the Titans that I think he's got a lot to add there. So what do you think? What's your gut tell you about my boys?
They're the second out of the 3 teams fighting for the 8, and I think they finish 8th. I think they make finals. The only thing that I feel like is going to cost them is Kevin Walters as a coach. If he just doesn't fuck up, then they make the 8. I think if you look at last year's team, they started they had good moments. They kind of faded towards the end of the season. But that comes usually with the inexperience in that squad because they were a very young squad still. I know there's a few players have been around there for a while now, but I think with, again, how they've recruited, I think they've filled the holes they need, but also then Reece Walsh is just a huge signing. That gives them that little bit of X factor that they're missing. I just think, they can go into the 8 just based on their squad, provided Walters doesn't fuck it up or another player goes on a podcast and shits on him, or Payne Haas in more drama off the field. But I think that'll be fine.
Well, for the first time since we had Carmichael Hunt and Justin Hodges playing fullback in 2006, we actually have a fullback that's going to push up around the ball.
Yes.
Because Darius Boyd, his best years were him not even pushing around the ball. Let's throw on cutout passes. So he was never there for offloads. We had nothing up the guts. We were going wide for everything. We've still got striker Tony Staggs, apparently played injured last year from Origin onwards, and he was still a bit quiet offensively. Defensively, he was great. Herbie, he's only signed a 1-year extension, so he's clearly still playing for a contract. Ezra Mann gets another year under his belt. Reynolds most likely play 50, 60% of the season. But Cobbo should be better. His fitness, he was really challenged with that last year. Payne Haas, hopefully he's drama-free. But we have Carrigan. We've got Flegler, who's definitely on the up. I think one thing that helps Kevin Walters not fuck this up is just the fact that they've got rid of a lot of dead weight to stop him from fucking it up. Because he couldn't manage a lineup. He had some terrible decisions around who to put in. A lot of those options have been taken away from him. So it's in a way, Ben Eichen and fucking the bloke from Melbourne have created this team so he doesn't fuck it up, pretty much. Like, he can't fuck it. Like, so I think the only thing he can probably fuck up is if we keep playing Carrigan at 13. Because then we've got no forwards that can pass. Because him and Hart, it's like they're racing to 200 meters every game.
He's going to be... Carrigan's going to be a lot better this year. He was good last year, but with the experience of playing in the Australian squad is going to come back a lot better as well.
It's true. But yeah, I've got my guys sitting around 7-8 as well. I don't think we blow the lights out. I think we have a few great games. We'll lose to the teams that we usually lose to. Penrith, Roosters, Storm, Cowboys. I think we can shock the Rabbitohs, maybe Cronulla, but Parra will dust us up. We'll lose a couple of games against shit teams that we shouldn't, like the Tigers. I think it's no surprises this year. I think we'll see a kind of a repeat of last year, but we'll make the 8. I don't think we shit the bed at the end. Slight improvement for me. All right, enough about those fucking wankers. Let's talk about the Raiders. Now, I don't know. I get this sense that they're going to suck, but they always seem to fly under the radar. They haven't picked up many players. They got Levi. They obviously lost Hodgson, Elliott, Chance, Sam Williams. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, we know what their attack's going to look like. White will kick the ball out on the full. Fucking Papali'i's getting fatter and older every day that he's alive. It's just Tarpanay will probably have another great year. Corey will get suspended. Like, Emery Goulder's got this fucking terrible mullet happening at the moment. Keen to watch Xavier Savage in his development, but outside
you got to wait 9 rounds. He's out for the first 8 rounds.
Yeah, it's true. So he's had a pretty injury-prone career already. He's only been 2-3 years, but he's injured every year.
Yep.
So, yeah, look, I'm not excited by Canberra. They're actually, what are they? They're shorter than the Broncos to make the top 8, I think. Oh, no, they're $1.91. $1.91. So it's a pick 'em. I don't think they make it. There's a lot of shit teams that have gotten better, and they're in that pack, and they haven't gotten better. They don't even have many young players who are going to take that next leap. They've got Tomoko, they've got Savage. Everyone else is old as shit. So Jared Croker will probably still be chasing his 300th in 3 years' time. It'll stay on the roster. They still have Matt Frawley, though, so they're a chance. But, yeah, I don't think they make the 8, to be honest. What's your predictor say?
I'm never big on the Raiders. I thought they overachieved last year in that week 1 final, beating Melbourne, and then they proved right because they got absolutely
finished the year well.
They got flogged at Parramatta, like it wasn't even close. I have them 12th. I just think that squad hasn't improved. It's gone backwards. Xavier Savage out first 8 rounds, so that's going to hurt them because he was basically the reason why Nickel Clockstad left. So I don't even know who they're going to play. Rapiner probably at fullback. I think Rapiner is actually suspended. He's
suspended again, yeah.
So they don't have a fullback at the first game. Kotrick, absolute, never been the player he was ever again since he left the Raiders the first time. I just look at that team. I think, like Papali'i, he's well into the back end of his career. The big shining light for them last year was Tarpanay. I don't know if Tarpanay does it again. I think Tarpanay was playing for a contract last year. They've signed him until 2027, so they're basically going all in on this bloke. So Elliot Whitehead, again, not the player he was 3-4 years ago. White will kick the ball out on the full. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
I just think, they overachieved to finish 8th last year. And I think, again, they finished 8th because teams like the Broncos and Manly absolutely shut the bed. And if they didn't, they wouldn't have made the 8. So
Yeah, that's true. Blake Riley's got a good comment here. They do have the easiest draw, something to keep in mind. But when they look at the draw strength, you're kind of looking at last year's performance and their team finished. A lot of those shit teams have gotten better. So we've actually seen what your teams like Penrith and Melbourne get a little bit weaker, and which is good because they were, well, was Penrith especially, were so much better than everyone else. It wasn't fair. So I like the fact that they've gotten weaker, and a lot of these shit teams have stepped it up. This team, tough to get a read on them. It's the Parramatta Reels. Now Parramatta's got some big outs. They've losses. Decore's gone to the Warriors. Papali'i's gone. Kafusi's gone. Reed Marnie, huge. And probably Opachik, who was a good fill-in because their fucking left wingers get destroyed every year. So that backline was decimated last year. Probably why they were trying to get fucking Harper. But in terms of who they picked up, I think Hopgood's a big pickup from Penrith. Hodgson, question marks if he can make it through the year with those dodgy old knees. And they got Jack Murchie from the Warriors. And sometimes he actually played pretty well. But they're not as strong as they were last year. That was their window. That fucking window slammed shut real quick. But Moses has re-signed. Dillbags has re-signed. And they still got that guy with plastic legs playing fullback. So still a pretty good team. But how do you think they go? Where do they
I've
finish?
got fifth. So they will slide a little bit, but I still, as you said, I still think they're a decent squad. Reed Marnie's a big loss for them, and Papali'i, obviously.
Their front rowers are still strong as fuck.
Their front, they've got the two big boys up front who are just going to do a bit. There's not going to be many 4-packs that can compete with them. Your halves are still there. Your fullbacks the same. So they've still got the 6-7-1, the two props, one of their second rowers who made the grand final last year. So they were the big reasons behind making the final. Obviously, Reed Marnie was quality, but it wasn't like their other players they've lost a big reason. So hopefully Wonga Blake wants to catch in the offseason. That might help them as well. Jermaine Hopgood is a very good signing, Hopgood. Like Hopgood literally left because he can't get Isaiah Yo's spot. So
he's pretty good.
Madison saving a bit of money at the start of the season too, which is also good. So he'll be cashed up for round 5.
How long is Sean Lane out? Because he kind of
indefinite. He'll be out for a while. I'd say he'll be out for nearly 8-10 weeks. I'd say broken jaw. So he's a big loss because he was in form for them at the end of last year. He actually probably was playing better than Papali'i leading up to the grand final. But then also last year they'd missed Sivo for like half the season as well, and he is against the average teams. He is an easy 1-on-1 try scorer. So big round 1 game for them, which we'll talk about next week, because Melbourne. I think it's a game where they could break this record of Bellamy's and beat Melbourne round 1 in Paris. This hoodoo. So, but I've got to I'm sliding a little bit.
Shit suspension too, right?
Yeah.
So, it's a tough one. I think Parramatta's season's going to come down to their health. I think that if their depth is tested again, because that's what happened to them last year, if their depth is tested, I think they're fucked.
I think also, from a betting point, unbelievable value. They're $1.72 to make the 8. The Broncos are $1.75. You mean to tell me Para 3 cents worse than the Broncos to make the 8, the grand final?
Pat Carrigan, mate. Pat Carrigan.
That's a big call there. Like $1.72 to make the 8 for Para, I love that bet.
It is. I think that's value. That is definitely value. I was fucking around with multis before, but you can't mix a team to miss the 8 with a team to make the 8.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I was like, this is dumb. These aren't contradicting in any way. Let me fucking play, son. So no, I agree. If you're a Para fan, good money. Just take them to make the 8. Sprinkle a bit to make the top 4 to make it interesting, but stake appropriately. But I think they're overs to make the 8. But I think if there are injuries, I think they're going to be in trouble because the depth is going to be challenged to start the year, especially in that back row. They've lost Papali'i, Lane's out, Madison's out. They've only got Hopgood really, but
Cartwright should be back though.
Cartwright, fucking hell. Nah. All right, let's move on. We're talking Cronulla Sharks. A lot of people have high hopes on Cronulla Sharks. They impressed in year 1. Fitzy's first year at coach. I think he brought in everything that they expected. Nico was great. They were pretty good. Talakai had an explosion moving into the centers. Fafita's gone. Tolman's gone. They were too old anyway. Lockie Miller was a good backup for Kennedy, but he's gone. They picked up Kafusi, but very much a very similar team. They've got the float god, Toby Rudolph, still there. Jesse Raymond's still there, but he'll get suspended at some point. Same as Britton Nakora. Still cop some suspension throughout the year. Matt Moylan still plays in the NRL somehow. Cam McGuinness apparently has lost 2 more teeth over the last year. So he's eaten everything through a straw. Wade Graham, he'll average 6 minutes a week. But yeah, a lot of people are predicting more from Cronulla in comparison to last year. So where do you have them sitting?
I've got them in 6th.
6?
Yeah,
Is that a
I
backward
think
step?
a little bit. Yeah, because I think they did have a very good draw last year. In terms of the games of the teams they played against a lot of weaker teams, and yeah, I just thought in the finals, I think this showed they probably finished a lot higher than they should have. They got beaten at home by the Cowboys in a game they should have won, and then they went out by South in straight sets. And I think they're solid, like they're consistent across the park. But I think again you'll see a consistent season. I just think there'll be more games. If you look like, for example, Hines almost has to play Origin as a utility or something even. So they're going to miss him during that period. Fanuc and Wade Graham, they're again injury prone, but yeah, I think 6. I think they're that class above the rest in terms of below them, but they're not quite that top 4.
Yeah.
The top 4 teams I have are like on their day genuine teams that would beat the best Sharks team. I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like they don't have enough balance in the roster. Fuck, almost every single player they have is the same age. They basically built this roster to win right now. I can't see anyone taking a leap because that's what you need, right? If your roster doesn't change, you're expecting certain players to take leaps. I think we saw Toby Rudolph take one. We saw Nico Hines clearly take one, which is pretty crazy. He was awesome. But who's going to get better? Like there's no one else. Like Talakai already took a leap, but he started to slow down after Tony Staggs fucked him up. He slowed down after that. Like Ronaldo took a leap last year. I don't think he gets much better.
No.
Fanukin's on the other side of the hill. He's starting to get injured now. He's not as tough as nails as he once was. Yeah, I don't see anyone getting better in this team. So I agree. There's a chance for them to drift. I think the opportunity for them to like how they can improve is probably just that chemistry, right? They had some big changes in key positions last year. They've had a full season behind them. An opportunity for them to build on that. Their coaching is great. The culture is right. So I think they're a good chance. I've got them between 4 and 6. Maybe even 3, depending on other teams' injuries, though. So I think 3 is their ceiling.
Okay.
Because I also think they know they have to build to the finals. It's not fucking hit a minor premiership, we're going all the way. Like that's not how it's going to work with these guys. So
no, true.
Yeah. So they'll be a good watch. Good watch for sure. Let's talk about the North Queensland Cowboys. So hopefully, Wobbling Jaw Sports, Sam Revel, hopefully you're still here, mate. Now you're a big Cowboys man. I think you need to tune in for this one. So they've got Jimmy Tarmow, they got Kajeski. Firstly, did you see that Cowboys video where they were all pronouncing their surnames?
Yes.
Did you see that, or did you send that to me?
No. You sent it to me and I watched it. And then I sent you a video back pointing out a contradiction. So, yes, we'll get to that because I could talk this one on that.
Okay. Well, the Cowboys impressed a lot of people last year. Drinkwater was fucking fantastic. Dearden was brilliant. He was everything the Brisbane Broncos thought he was going to be last year. The back rowers were dangerous. They picked up Luciano. Fucking Nanai did very well. Do you like the pronunciation? Nanai, excellent. Tamalolo actually started to play better. Tuolangi played Origin. He was great. Kyle Felt, solid as a rock. Ruben Cotter, he exploded. So that had a lot of players take some leaps last year. Val Holmes finally got his NRL body happening. Tom Gilbert was excellent last year, but he's fucked off and he's gone. But outside of him, I don't think they've had any major losses. Like the Hammer's gone, but they will just like kind of chuck him on there for the last 8 minutes. Or if there's a HIA, he goes on. So not a massive loss in my opinion, but you have a bold prediction about the Cowboys and I want to hear it.
I do. I have the Cowboys finishing 11th out of 8. This is my bold prediction, and I've put my money where my mouth is, and I'll share my bet slip. I've bet it because I do not think they make the 8 this year. I think I've got a list of reasons why, and I'm happy to go on record. Happy to be proven wrong if it is true, and I'm wrong. Firstly, if I go through like their draw last year, they had an incredibly favorable draw. Like if everything went right for the Cowboys at the right time in terms of when players got injured, through to when they played certain teams, everything was perfect. So last year they played about 72% of their games in Queensland for starters, including games against the Bulldogs. They played the Bulldogs home game up in Townsville or Cairns or something. Sorry, up like basically they played a game in Darwin against Para where it was like basically tropical weather. It was a home game for them. Eels died in the ass. They played the Panthers, New South Wales Cup team in round 24 or something when Penrith wrapped the minor premiership and set the whole team up there. They did play Melbourne Storm without Pappenhausen and Hughes prior to the Magic Round and absolutely belted them as well. They also had a game against the Tigers, which people are quick to forget was probably the biggest robbery in NRL history, where that game was full time and they got given a penalty on full time to win the game. So taking those things in there, I feel like they're an 8 to 10. They were an 8 to 10 point better team than last year. Now, I think if you take away those 10 points there, and if things level out, which they probably will this year, they might still get the odd call here or there, but there were games that they just were gifted. That's quite a lot of games. I feel like they slide down the ladder. I think a prime example, again, I don't think they finished, third last year or something? No.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because they got a home preliminary. So basically, they finished third, played Cronulla. I think finished second. Anyway, so they beat Cronulla, got the home preliminary final, and everyone's thinking, "Wow, this is a big deal." They had a week rest. The Eels had to go back the long way. Had a fresh team, and they still couldn't beat Para in Townsville with the biggest game of the season, which shows I just don't think that team was near as players like Dearden had the season their lives. Peter Hiku, I've never seen Peter Hiku play, but he won't be playing that good this year. You talk about Leitch, he's stood down now. He's got that domestic violence. Like, he's off the books, so he's not playing. Like they're missing him as well. They did lose. I know they didn't lose like huge talent, but they lost a lot of their depth, which they had relied on quite a fair bit last year as well. So I've had them out of the 8. I think they're $3.50. I think I got them at. To miss the 8 is value. So
okay, I do think they slide. I do have them making the 8, but I understand those reasons. I agree with them. Similar to some of the other teams we've mentioned, who's going to take a leap here? I think we've seen Dearden could probably improve a little bit based on his age and his potential. Same as someone like probably Cotter. I think Drinkwater peaked. That's the best we're going to see from him. There's still a good chance that he delivers on that. He was great in his trials. Chad Townsend, I don't think he's going to get any better.
No, that was a good season from him, granted. But even like when they played in Cairns against Eels, Eels played Jake Arthur at 5'8" and Dylan Brown the centers, and that was the last game they did it. After that, they're like, we're not doing that again. Flipped them back around, put Dylan back in the 5'8". Amazing. There was also that game against Manly earlier in the season where they were down like 10 points with like 4 minutes to go, and they went bang bang on the last play to win. They should never have won. It was like a Friday night. Should never have won that game either. Like Manly choked. So like there's so many games last year which they got the rub of the green, and I think even if that levels out, that's going to bring them back down to the pack where they should be, because whilst well coached, that squad isn't a threat to me, I feel.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys will beat the teams that they should throughout the year, and I think they'll lose the games against the stronger teams. I just don't like their play style isn't conducive to winning those types of games against your Parramatta Eels, your Melbournes, your Penrith. So I think that's where they're going to be really challenged, and that's the mystery they're going to be trying to solve. But I do think they'll beat the shit teams, which they're supposed to. But there's also a lot of teams that should beat the shit teams. So we shall see. We shall see on the Cowboys. But I've clipped that. So every 4 to 12 weeks, depending on how it's looking, we'll share it. And you can get a bit of a I told you so moment, my mate.
Thank you. But I backed them on, just so you know, Bet365. So I'll also get them a cash out throughout. So if they have a shit start to the season, I'm looking at a juicy cash out. And from memory, I don't think they've got the easiest draw to begin with. I think there's some, I think it's actually the draw from memory is real. Like, this will show if I'm right or wrong. Like, they play Raiders, Broncos, Warriors, Titans, Dogs. Now, if they are legit 8, I feel like they win 4 of those.
Yep.
If they lose to you guys and the Dogs, for example, and then struggle against the Raiders or something, then I'm feeling like I'm well on. Or they lose to the Warriors or Titans, which I don't think they should, which is, your point is. But if they lose to, like, say, the Broncos or something, that's a team I think they're fighting for the 8 with.
We're gonna be the Kings of Queensland once again, I tell you. All right, let's talk about the South Sydney Rabbitohs. In terms of gains, they haven't picked up anyone, but they've lost the source. Your mate, he's gone.
Unlucky.
Crowd favourite Mark Nichols is gone. Locked in 14th forever. Cody Nikorima, he's gone. Richie Kenner was released, and Jackson Paulo's gone to the Roosters. So he's got terrible hands anyway. I feel like they kind of have to win it now. This team, look. I ate shit on one prediction around the Rabbitohs last year. I think you were on with me on this. We were shitting on Lachlan Ilias. Yes. Reynolds was firing early. Ilias was shitting the bed, and we're like, "Ha! Who won this fucking trade?" Back end of the year, Reynolds is injured. He's shit. And Ilias actually finished the year quite strong. I was impressed with how he played. So I'm eating shit on that one. Ilias outperformed my expectations. I thought he finished the year excellently. He's primed to take another leap this year. And if he does, I think the Rabbits can go pretty deep. They'll go top 4, third, provided, who is it? I think Latrell, that mental health bullshit they used to follow him around, I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think he's matured past that. He's probably going to get suspended. Don't get me wrong. I think he can find his way around a suspension, so he'll get one of those. But Alex Johnson's getting a bit older. I think Cody Walker is, but he's a natural footballer. He finds a way. Totola took a leap last year. He was excellent because we were talking about how shit their forward pack is. Like, who have they got? But he really stepped up. Cam Murray, excellent. He's a fucking brilliant footballer. Unbelievable. They don't have many big names throughout that forward pack, but they managed to deliver. Jai Arrow looks like a permanent fixture in the second row now, which was interesting at the time, but somewhat effective. But yeah, I just think that their big players will play well. That's my opinion, and I think they go top 4.
I have second.
You got a second?
I agree. I
can't wait to hear about the Roosters then.
Not bad, but the Rabbitohs, for me, if you look at it, they were in it against Penrith in the preliminary final. Yeah, they were up 12-0. Penrith had a bazillion disallowed try, but they were competing. And to be fair, the only team really, when Penrith full strength, to give them a run since Parra mid-season. Yeah. And you look at that squad, you're right. Lachlan Ilias, again, another year it's good. I think it's positive. Latrell at fullback, Cody in the halves at 5'8", and Cook at 9. They've got a stable spine. It hasn't changed. Their forward pack has barely moved. It's a solid team. They lost a bit of Deadwood, but it's a consistent team.
They had a first-year coach as well. So.
Yep. First-year coach is going to be better. First-year half is going to be better in his second year. So I think they are stable enough across the park and solid enough to week in, week out win. I think Damien Cook won't play Origin this year, so that's going to give them more time with him. I think Latrell will, obviously, if he's fit. Yes. But outside of that, there with that Souths team, there isn't, like, Cam Murray obviously will as well. Maybe Campbell Graham gets a run, but that's it in that team.
He's had a few injuries last year.
Yeah, they're not going to get hit for Origin period, say like the Panthers and the Roosters will. So their squad depth is good already, and it's not going to be tested. So I think they've got enough coverage, and unless barring injury, I think they run second.
Yeah. Injury and suspension is the only thing that can slow them down. I reckon they have a strong showing this year, so we're in agreement with that. All right, we'll see a few Rabbitohs bets throughout the year, I'm sure. Let's get into the Melbourne Storm. Shit. So we were talking a bit earlier about how they've offloaded a lot of their dead weight. Probably culture building pieces, I guess. Mentoring. I'm more excited about their gains, to be honest. So they got Tariq Sims, full of potential. For some reason, can't get it right. Played Origin, played well in that once upon a time. And they got Katoa. They got some other blokes, but they're the main two. Katoa, very similar. Great potential, but for some reason couldn't even get a run for the Warriors. They played him off the bench a lot. Destructive. He could score tries. Clearly lacking some guidance, motivation, or something, right? So I think those two players have blinders. I think they have great years, those two. We've got Pappenhausen with his plastic legs. So, yeah, fuck. It's not looking promising for him, especially the extent of his injuries. But they still got Harry Grant. They still got Jerome Hughes. They've still
Mm-hmm.
got fucking Cam Munster.
Mm-hmm.
Nelson's still there, and if he plays in the second row like 4 times this year, I can't wait for that. It was fucking entertaining as hell. Xavier Coates, I don't think he's going to get much better than he currently is, but he's decent. Christian Welch is back from injury, so we'll see what type of player he is when he comes back. Justin Olam's fucked his arm up. I don't know how long he's out for, but look, lacking depth, but for Melbourne, it's never been a problem.
No.
Right? So, yeah, I think they'll be up there. I think they'll surprise some people. They'll do what they do, right? They'll blow people away. Like, oh fuck, this Melbourne Storm team not impacted. It's the coach, the culture, all this shit. And they'll have a shit patch. They'll have a shit patch where they can suck. Could be post Origin or lead up to Origin, whatever it is. They're going to lose a lot of players for Origin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, where have you got them on the Dark Previews ladder, mate? What are you thinking?
4th.
You got them 4th. So
Yeah, again, you've got. I know Pappenhausen's out for the start of the season, and there's big worries about him. But you can't tell me a team with Harry Grant, Munster, and Hughes steering them around isn't going to do well. Like it's literally the Queensland hooker, the 5'8", and the New Zealand halfback.
None of those are even close to going over the hill, right? They're
really
still in their prime.
Yeah, like Harry Grant's early in his career, Hughes is probably coming up to the middle of his career, and Munster the same middle to late in his career. Like he's got so much good football in front of him, and I just think, even if Pappenhausen is gone for the year, I think they're good enough and well coached enough to be consistent. The problem for Melbourne, I found now for the last few years, since they won the comp, basically, is they don't seem to go to another level in the finals. Like that first week of finals, Canberra beat them, and then they went out in straight sets. The year prior, they were on fire, and then when they ran into that Penrith team at Suncorp, they just couldn't get over the line.
They're not grinders anymore. That's why
they're not grinders. They're
entertainers.
They can put 40 on a really bad team instantly, and make them look like the best team in the world. But when they run up against a team who can hold their defense, that's when they struggle.
Your Parramatters and your Penrith, those grinding motherfuckers.
Yes,
give them problems.
Which I think they'll still, and even like Roosters in that game where they belted each other. Like that was one of the best games of the year. Those teams are going to give them trouble, and that's why I don't think they'll finish any higher than 4. But I think there's enough quality they'll beat these shit teams.
I think they'll light some teams up.
Like the Dolphins, I can see like Munster scoring 4 tries. Like Milford will be grabbing at him, can't tackle him. Like.
No, I agree. Look, we've got, I guess, similar thoughts on Melbourne. I think the culture does keep them within the top 4. They'll slap a lot of teams. They'll struggle against those grindy fuckers. But I think they'll find new ways to win games, which is, it's the impact of great coaching there. So bellyache, we'll see how he goes. Really keen to see Tarek Sims and Katoa. Really keen to see what the fuck they do, because they're going to tell their old clubs to eat shit.
They're going to be much better footballers.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, let's talk about the Sydney Roosters, mate. They got Brandon Smith. They got Paulo. They signed Turpin and Corey Allen. Who have they lost? Fucking Lussick, Vulcan, Fafita, Lockie Lamb. Takiaho's gone. Kieran's gone to Gama and Sam Verrills. Again, haven't lost much. Forward pack is fucking crazy. Halves, excellent, depending on how Luke Keary goes with his first head knock. They got Suoliti. They got fucking that psychopath at the back, bloody Teddy. Tupou's still there. He had a great year, very consistent. For me, I'm most excited to see the evolution of Jared Warrior-Hargreaves, because the older he gets, the less effective he is at playing football. Yeah. And he gets grubbier. Yes, angrier. He's just becoming to that old guy. And I am getting up there in age. I'm 32 now, so I've technically played sport for 20 years, right? Competitive sport for 20 years. And now I'm getting to the point where I am getting older. So I am getting more physical. I'm getting dirtier. I'm getting smarter. I'm more manipulative. And I'm becoming a grubby prick. Me and Jared are on a similar timeline here. So I'm really keen to watch him. Out of everyone that Roosters have, I want to see him become an absolute grubby fuck. So, and I want to see Joey Manu, see if he can continue to get better. But yeah, that's a real personal thing. But what are your thoughts? What's your outlook on the Roosters this year?
I have them 3rd, but they are, for me, they could be anything this year. They could be premiership winners. They could struggle to make the 8 because I've never seen a squad or an organization with so many injury problems and so much like Madison is I don't know when he's coming back. He's gone for most of the season already. Tupanua, same thing. We don't know when he's coming back. Kiri had a head knock at training. Like Manu was injured as well. Apparently, all coming back round one, but they're not. It could be. I don't know, like what they could be, but like
they're also slow starters, right? So the season they're usually slow starters.
Well, the Knights beat them round one last year.
They peak at the right time of the year. So again, that's more of a coaching thing, getting them prepared and ready. So that's going to lose them some points.
Which I'm hoping that's what they're doing with Brandon Smith, because man, he is not an 80-minute hooker. He was gassed, and he did the same thing at Melbourne. Sometimes you get gassed and you get caught out in defence on the line. Hunsho's probably onto something there. He's probably enjoying the Sydney lifestyle a little bit too much compared to boring Melbourne. But I still think they've got enough quality across the park where, particularly the back end of the season, if they have enough troops on the park, they will beat a lot of teams who are struggling, and they'll finish third.
They're going to be a team that I bet against, especially early in the year. I think they'll beat teams, but not cover the line very well. I think they'll be a bit clunky. Like, their team is so good. Angus Crichton is so fucking good.
Oh, he was gone as well, right? I forgot about him.
Yeah. Oh, where's he gone?
Yeah, he's mental health. He's gone for the year, they reckon.
For mental health?
Angus.
Yeah,
forgot about him. Yeah, he's not well, apparently.
Well, Nat Butcher, look. He'll score
Nat Butcher will score tries,
Yeah, but this team's so good. They got Lindsay Collins there. He's crazy.
Yeah.
Victor Radley, he's crazy. Jared's obviously going to be more crazy. Brandon Smith could be anything. So,
they've got like their 1-17 is like the best team on paper in the column.
Yeah.
It's just, they just don't seem to be able to put it together.
They won't put it together the whole way around, the whole way through. They're looking at peaking at the right time.
He's 3 years ago that injury depleted where the J-Mo's basically retired and B-Mo's retired with injuries. That was their best season they've had, I feel, and they had the probably worst squad since. And then last 2 years they've had way better squads. They just haven't been able to put it together, or they had for a patch like last year, and then just that South prelim game, they belted South last week, the first game at Allianz. And then the next week it was Simbin City, and that season was done after that.
That's what I'm going to see more of this year. They're just going to lose their mind.
Yeah. That game is going to be good. I can't wait for that game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a cracker. All right. Now let's talk about your boys to close it off. The Penrith Panthers. So they've lost a bit. They lost some very great players. Who they lost? Appy's gone. Staines is gone. Some other drop kicks like O'Sullivan. Hopgood's gone. Kick out. You lost Christian Crichton. You lost Kurt Falls, apparently. He was big during the Origin period for you.
No, he's still there now.
He's still there?
Yeah, he played the other day. So, yeah.
All right. Well, and you haven't picked up too much, to be honest. Garner and Hosking, you got some second rollers. But so clearly not as strong, but similar to some of the other teams, fucking a lot of young players just taking leaps upon leaps, taking leaps to the point where you're like, fucking critters, you can go, man. Like, we're not going to pay you that much. We've got these young bloods coming through anyway. So Taylor May's out for the year. That's pretty disappointing. But again, Sunny will step in. I think he'll be fine. You can cover that. By your other rankings, it sounds like you've got another minor premiership here for Penrith. Just okay.
Spoiler alert.
Give me the sweet science. Where the fuck's that coming from? I'm not going to disagree with you either, to be honest. Like,
I have him first. I think that obviously they've lost a couple players, which is a big piece. But where I think people forget with the Panthers team is the depth, and you've gave a couple names, but they won the New South Wales Cup last year. They won the Jersey Fleet. They won the SG Ball. Yeah. No, sorry. They didn't win. Yeah, they didn't win Harold Matts, I think. Or they won. Yeah, they didn't win Harold Matts. They won all the junior grades. So they've got talent flying through. They come back a little bit, but I think players like Liam Martin are going to be better this year, playing for Australia in the off-season. Yeah. Like Luais, your Totos, they're playing for Samoa now.
Yeah.
They had a very grueling season last year, and they still blew Parramatta off the park in the first 40 minutes of the grand final. They were so far ahead of the competition last year. Yes, they come back, but there's still a gap between them. And I think over the full season, I know the Origin, they're going to get tested again. Yeah. But, for example, Dylan Edwards isn't going to get picked at Origin.
No.
So he's going to be there. Their hookers they're going to play through. Obviously, Appy's not there anymore.
Do you think Luai's going to play Origin?
See, that's a question. I don't know. I think Burton might get the nod. So I think Luai might not play Origin.
Or even Nico. Nico could get there.
Nico could play there. I think there's a lot of competition there.
If you're saying Southland will be better this year, Cody could get in there, but his Origin form's not great.
No, he's a bit like Moses. They've burned those bridges. They got like a couple young players like Jesse McLean, who's going to be amazing. They've signed Luke Garner again, who's probably one of Tigers' best players. Hosking, good in patches for you guys. So let's see how he is now at the Penrith system.
Yeah,
I just think they're just again their squad is that stacked. It's just going to be very hard to stop them. The game on the weekend against St. Helens were very good. To be fair, they played them, and Penrith weren't at their best, and they lost by a field goal.
The weather suited them though.
The weather, it was raining sideways. But if you look at even their losses last year, Penrith had, apart from that game against the Cowboys, beating Penrith was like a field goal. It was like never got blown up. No team beat them and looked good. Even St. Helens, who won 4 Super Leagues in a row, beat them with a field goal with Crichton knocking on the ball, and Penrith nearly stole that game as well. I've got them for minor premiership. I think they're going to be injuries is the only thing. Again, they're going to be very hard to stop. They're going to win a lot of games. And remember, they wrapped up the minor premiership last year with Cleary suspended for 8 weeks. Like Cleary missed half the season through Origin and suspension last year, and they still won the minor premiership without him at halfback. And people forget that, like, oh, you got no Appy, but Cleary didn't play half the regular season. They still won the minor premiership.
It's true. It's true. I think Penrith take a step back, but that step back, they're still ahead of the competition. I think the way that they play and the players that they've lost won't impact that. Like that grindy bullshit that some people don't like watching, right? No. That Floyd Mayweather style of playing sport where you're basically just outpointing people and outplaying them without blowing too many teams off. I think they'll shut a lot of teams down here. So, yeah, Appy offensively creates a lot. Kickout creates opportunities around him. But defensively, I think you've covered those holes very well. So, yeah, I think Penrith go all the way. Obviously, depends on, stuff like health and shit like that. But I think chemistry and that shit is unmatched. The culture of the club is ridiculous. It's a dynasty. The dynasty's coming, mate. That's all I'm going to say. My only bold prediction around Penrith is that the Broncos will cover the first half against them. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. The first half line, we'll cover that.
What is it? Oh, we
doesn't matter.
Next week, but
we'll talk about it next week. Doesn't matter what it is. We'll cover it.
Yeah, I think Penrith are going to play similar last year. I think they did lose a lot of first half lines, but they play at a speed and pace where teams can't go 80 minutes. They'll go 40, 50 minutes, and then they just even St. Helens, to be fair, we're up 12-0 after 55 minutes, and they didn't score a point after that.
You guys were completing at like 50% too.
Yeah, 50%, and they still could only crack us through twice. That was I think, a good sign, Yeah.
No, it's going to be scary. But
this time last year as well, Penrith got flogged 24-0 by Parra in a trial. So people who's talking about trial form and shit, it doesn't mean much.
No, that's true. No, Penrith are going to be scary. But look, let's wrap this up. It's getting late in the evening. I wanted to hit this in an hour, but maybe we probably spoke a bit too long. A bit about scheduling. So Tuesday night's the night we're going to try to set aside to do a weekly show. We'll preview every game that's going to be happening. We'll share our best bets and our leans. We're doing the right thing here. We're not going to bet on every single game on this podcast, but we'll let you know where we're leaning, and we'll make it very clear whenever we're making a bet on something. Expect at least 4 from each. We're not fucking cowards. We can't just pick 1 or 2 games. We'll bet on at least half of them.
I'm here to get rich.
We're here to get rich. So we'll be getting that happening. We'll track all the results. I'll clearly do multis and shit like that. I'll share that on Discord. And then if I'm planning to have content every day throughout the rest of the year, mixes of NBA, some NRL stuff, maybe some UFC, might dabble in that. AFL's coming up soon, so hot topic on whether we do an AFL show as well and get some of the lads in. So some of those blokes from the fucking Western states, they want to talk that shit. So we might have something around that, but clearly me and Luke will definitely be here every Tuesday. We might even get some of you Discord fuckers in there too to join us, but we'll see. But the least you can expect is this show every Tuesday, preview the round, have a bit of fun while we're at it. Yeah? All right, Luke, I bid you adieu, my friend. Hope you have a wonderful evening. We'll catch up at a very similar time, hopefully earlier, next Tuesday.
We'll be
and we'll get rocking and rolling on a live show. Since Luke's back with us, we're going to have this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything like that again, right?
I'm back.
Yeah, you're back? All
yeah,
right.
it's Spotify.
Okay. You can see us wherever you like your podcast. You get to hear these wonderful voices. But outside of that, Luke, I didn't ask you this, right? So basically, we're not going to share anything else related to rugby league. But I haven't got your feedback on this.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Why is that not on Spotify?
It's not long enough. It's 12 seconds, mate.
Still good enough. That's
So
very good.
I know you liked it when I originally did it. Had a nice laugh. Kept it for a long time. Since then, the channel's blown up a bit. Close to 1,000 subscribers
I
already.
did see that.
So one thing, when your channel starts to grow, can't have a lot of swearing going on because that impacts your ability to be monetized and sponsored. And I was like, shit, we're growing. I need to make some adjustments. So I did another one. Rapping's not my forte, but I had another crack. What do you think of the second version of it all?
No, I like it. It's good.
Yeah?
Very good.
Got some West Sydney preaching in there. So.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, we've got to represent the lads. So. Okay, I'll get that popping on every single show as well. But look, you have a wonderful night. I'll see you next Tuesday. Start studying, mate, because big pressure's on. First round, I reckon if we get off to a banger, we'll get traction nice and early. Hope the Cowboys lose. That helps you, your bold prediction. And I hope the Tigers win. So that helps me. So I'll see you next week, bro.
See ya.